astrology. And if I change the name of this channel, it will forever be introduced as Shirley the Nude Astrologer. And you'll wonder what the heck was going on. So there was a time where this channel was called the Nude Astrologer, and it's still now. I would like to talk about lavender, and let me just put a beautiful picture here of this plant and the power of lavender, especially during the times of Mars, especially lavender essential oil during Mars retrograde in Gemini. So, lavender is quite a common herb and quite commonly used. It's very basic in aromatherapy and essential oil studies. The one I'm holding here is just lavender essential oil. Um, it's great work on the nervous system and also on connecting to our heart's desire or aligning our heart. And therefore, some people also find it sensual because it releases stress from the third eye, okay, from this area, calms the nervous system, and opens the heart. So, of course, for people to whom that is somehow a block to sensuality, they can be aroused by smelling lavender. And I think it was also used by women to attract men in certain trade of sensuality circumstances. Um, lavender, we can, I just want you to look at the flower itself. Uh, we can see the color, and this is purple color, third eye color. So we understand that this is something that has high probability to interact with our third eye chakra, clarity of thought, clarity of intuition, um, and of course this is a herb. We use also the flowers, and this is lavender is a flower. So flower is basically the bloom of something, of bringing something into fruition. In aromatherapy, we basically use flowers in the sense of bringing something into fruition. We can use both fruits, like the citrus fruits, um, which we mainly use in aromatherapy, which are, by the way, not considered whole essential oils because we don't use the entirety of the plant, but they are very effective, so it doesn't matter. And the flowers are mainly they are more like, the sensual because of the scent, but also uh, you start with the seed, and then you have a trunk, and then you have the leaves, and then you have the flower itself. And of course, flowers also connect us to our heart. Not all of them, depends like what is more prominent, but they also connect us to our heart. Um, we can see just from the picture, we can see that this flower is very much okay with the sun, so it likes the sun, whether it is direct sun or indirect sun. It's not something that grows in the shade like, vetiver or patchouli that stay on the ground and nourish the ground, but it's something that interacts with the air. Astrologically, it's very related to Mercury, and this is why I chose this oil for this time. It's very accessible. This is the kind of oil that if you got bruised or cut, then, and I will talk about these tiny bruises and cuts, especially with the relation to Mars. If you got bruised or cut, then you can actually, the first few times, you can actually, if it's a true essential lavender oil, you can actually put it right on where you were bruised, even if it's an open bruise, and it will help disinfect and recover the skin. But then you want to dilute it. Okay, so I'm not going to give instruction on how to dilute oils right now because that is something you can learn in an aromatherapy course. And there are many courses available. Just make sure it's not related to any MLM or unhealthy business structure. But other than that, when sourcing oils, the best is it's an oil you can buy at the pharmacy. It's an oil that even if you go to the pharmacy and you just buy lavender essential oil, you don't need to sign up to billion programs. You don't need to buy sh- really expensive products. And this is also why I'm talking about this. It's very accessible. It's not too expensive. It's something that you always want to have because it's disinfectant and it's good for any emergency case, especially if you don't have, like a first aid. Then you're not gonna have any problems with putting that. And if you already know how to dilute the oil, then you can have the diluted version and you can take it with you, and so you don't have to worry about um, anything. But even if you're not an aromatherapist, this is an oil that you're very likely to be able to safely use. It always is good to know what you're allergic to. If you are allergic to, the fact that something is natural does not mean that it is not potent. That's important. Now, why essential oil? Essential oil is the concentration of something. And so Mars, that is also ruling Scorpio, that is ruling the essence of something, can give us uh, essential oils. Also, um, essential oils are very good for people who cannot take certain types of medications because they're too sensitive. They might be sensitive to essential oils, so they need to check, but sometimes you are able to use these and they can be quite effective or quite helpful. Um, so, how to use it? Basically, you just want to smell it. You can put it in a bottle with a bit of salt. Just make sure it's not commercial salt like a tri-sea salt or something like that. That that it's good. Um, Put a couple of drops of lavender, and then you can just close the bottle and then smell the salt. This is a safe way to do it, but when you smell, make sure that you put it from a distance that you can already smell it, but it's not too much. If you can just go with your hand like this and smell it in the air. You don't want to hurt your tissues inside your nostrils. Mm? So you don't want to hurt your tissues, and this is strong stuff. Um, that is one way you can use it. Of course, if you do get those little bruises, that is another way you can use it. And at this time, it is a good way to take the energy of Mars as essential oil, as something that is very concentrated, that is the essence of something, and the quality of Mercury. And here we have lavender, which is related to Mercury, and combine them because Mars is in a Mercury ruled sign. When Mars is retrograde, so Mars is reflecting upon its actions. And so, using an oil of mental clarity, some people might also want to use basil, but basil is more scorpionic. And also, basil, for essential oil, if you use it, then it can affect your thyroid. So, you need to know what you're doing if you do that. Lavender is pretty safe. And lavender also integrates Mercury's energy. So you want clarity of mind, you want to calm the nervous system, and this will allow you to reflect and do the reflection and gain the clarity that you need during the time of Mars retrograde, especially now that we have the square to Neptune. So Neptune tends to blur things, and lavender can keep you at least calm when that happens. Um, so that is a good that is a good energy to work with. I want to say remedy, but it's definitely a good energy to work with. Um, Now is another issue that I wanted to talk about is those little stings and cuts and bruises that you can get on your skin sometimes, especially if it's cuts, cuts, then Mars is involved. Hands, you like it may be more, you might get more scratches on your hands during Mars retrograde in Gemini, especially if they are somehow related to your sixth house, because uh, Mercury in Gemini is ruling the hands, and Mars is something that is cutting. So that's why you want to go with lavender around you. But there's another tip. Let's say you have a cut or a bruise. Okay, sometimes it's tender. It's not necessarily something big. You can actually put your fingers on the cut, or kind of pet it or massage it, just like you would do for a child to got bruised, and pay attention to what's going on in your body. Usually, you will begin to relax something. Maybe some emotion will come out. So be attentive to yourself when you do that. And so you have the scent that's calming you, and then you can massage it or give it, sort of like give love to the place. And sometimes you have like a sting, like mosquito bites. Again, very scorpionic, right? Um, so you can just press it, just like a pressure point, and just turn the finger around very lightly, and try to see what does it do. Because sometimes those mosquito bites will be right on certain pressure points in your body. Okay? Don't do it if you're pregnant. Also, lavender. Like, don't use essential oils if you're pregnant unless you know what you're doing. Yes, there are safe essential oils, but hey, you can smell an orange. You don't have to use an orange essential oil. Um, and of course, don't start pushing buttons in your body that you don't know what they're doing. If you're pregnant or trying to fall pregnant or around those things. And if you have like sensitive menstruation, um, while while these experiments can actually relieve it, they can also do like other things. And so if you are menstruating and you're not experimental, then don't do that. Like, it's better to go to somebody who understands what they're doing and understand when and when not to touch something. Other than that, you can be experimental with it, and you can just look for these, little bruises, and it can calm the mind. It's a very nice practice, and then you can massage yourself, kind of give yourself good treatment. And also, it is very good, let's say, if you have it in the hand, make sure you give love, or you give massages and touch for the whole hand. Try to tend to your body more so that you don't create a situation where you need to get bruised or you need to get beaten, so that you will put that lavender oil. It's much better to work with it, to smell it, and to prevent, right? And so just doing that, even if you don't have lavender, just doing that with your body can be very useful at this time, because Mars is physical and Mercury is the hands. So touching, massaging, tending to oiling your hands, even if you have like olive oil or coconut oil or any type of natural oil that you're not allergic to, then that will be good even if you don't have essential oil. I'm not going to give you like instructions on how to dilute, because then you can misunderstand me and overdose on the oil. So I don't want to do that. It's not because I don't want to give you knowledge. It's because I want to make sure that I give you knowledge in a way that makes it the easiest for you to apply it correctly. Um, so you won't like get bad side effects from doing that. Um, and so just doing these, pressure points is something you can do. And again, if you don't have access to medicine, if you don't have access to medical care, um, just standing to that or doing that as preventative is something that is always good, but it's something that is also especially good for people who are like in between stage in their lives. And if you do somehow manage to buy like a good lavender oil that you can buy at the pharmacy, um, then do make sure that you have the name of the lavender. Here I have Lavandula agustifolia, and I want to show you that in here. Lavender, Lavandula, yes, but I want to show you. No, the oil, the oil. Thank you. Lavandula angustifolia. Make sure you have the name on the bottle, because if you do, it's very like they have to attest to this that this is the brand. So that this is not the brand, the type of the brand, the type of the actual herb inside there. You will also they they need to legally make sure that this is the type of the oil. Um, Make sure that you have a date of up until when you can use it. Just know that it's bottled correctly. You keep essential oils in a dark and usually dry place, not in the fridge unless it is like um, citrus oils. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And that's a simple way you can use planetary cosmic energies to work with them and not against them. And if you do tend to your skin, if you do oil your skin, if you do tend to your hands, massage your hands, it can calm the nervous system and it can help you to slow down, because Mars in Gemini is very, very quick. And you want it, even when it's retrograde, okay, you want it to slow down. And when you slow down, you get less tendency to these bruises and cuts, and sometimes maybe even bites of, you know, all kinds of things that bite you in your skin. So that's my tip for today. And it's not surprising that I talk about this when the moon is again in Virgo, so the sign of using nature to heal, using stuff that are maybe chemicals from nature to heal, and cognitively blending that information. Another good side effect that you have with lavender oil, first of all, it's going to help you to work out on those issues that are affected by Mars and Mercury in general. So, where's Mars and Mercury in your chart? And then it's also opening the heart. So it gets you connected with your heart's desire. This is on a more energy level, on a more psychological level. The more you're sensitive to it, the more you work with it, and then you can pay attention to what is happening. Um, for example, I've been just putting them on my bruises, just doing it for a couple of days, and I recorded like a billion videos, and knowledge wants to come out of me because I have the hard desire of delivering this knowledge. So you can get more connected to what it helps you to process, to get understanding in, to be more aware when you need to rest, when you actually need to work, when you actually need to speak, and to have that connected um, to your heart. Okay, for me, when I did the meditation, I was working actually in an international organization, and we had meditation, and I took lavender with me, and I just used lavender, and just by that meditation, I was like, okay, I want to study the second course of aromatherapy. And I went and did that, even though it was challenging, you know, financially and so on and so forth. But it was very blessed, and that leads you to also the blessing you get with this is that you will be able to take action on your heart's desire, and that is where you can actually grow. You can actually develop yourself, and you can actually feel a sense of meaning and purpose as to what you do. Mars, and do it with clarity of the heart and mind, because it can help you align the mind and the heart. Okay, some people do it with listening to the heartbeats. Some people do it with meditation, for with visualization. Um, Many ways to just tend to your heart and mind. And of course, the blessing of aligning these two is that you can get clarity on what actually makes your heart healthy. And this is something that we absolutely want to do. We absolutely want to encourage. We absolutely want our relationships to tend to our heart's desires. Lavender in love magic, and when I say love magic, I don't mean attracting specific people. This is not love magic, this is self destructive magic. Um, Love magic is basically finding out what do you want and attracting that as qualities of, a partner or a spouse or a child or I don't know what. So lavender has the qualities of connecting to our authentic self and being ourselves around our partner. So if you use it for love magic, you would use it to attract the type of partner that you can be yourself around, that you don't have to hide things, that you don't have to feel uncomfortable, so that you can be yourself around, which of course is very healthy for your nervous system and your heart to be in such relationships, right? Um, so that's for lavender oil. As for the components, let's see if it gets. Yes, so for those of you who are geeks and want to know what does it mean, what does it have in it? So it has linalool acetate and linalool. Um, so linalool acetate and linalool, the combination of them is very, very calming. And specifically, linalool acetate is the one that changes the brain waves. So if you're into like brainwaves and listening to brainwaves music, you can add the lavender there, and it helps you to align your brainwaves to sort of attune and relax and calm down, but without completely falling asleep. Like it's not gonna make you fall asleep unless you really need to rest. It can actually wake you up if you if you need to be active. Like for me, I took it and I'm actually more awake right now because I slept enough. But if you didn't sleep enough, then taking lavender is a sure thing to make you like be very aware that you need to sleep. So it has a small percentage of tannins in it, caryophyllene, which is sesquiterpene, and that is anti-inflammatory. It can dry up the skin a bit, and that's why we want to use it always with dilution. But if it's like you just been bruised, you just been cut, right now you want to have it in your wallet, and it is okay. So it will dry the skin a bit, but it will not. But it will disinfect and it will protect the wound until you can get it with oil. And hey, you don't always have iodine with you, so that's a great natural solution. um, Very little alcohol, esters, which are also very calming, oxides. It does not include oxides in a way that is like dangerous, or ketones. Yeah, it does not include those ketones or oxides in a way that is like something that you cannot use. For example, lavender, rose, and Roman chamomile are actually used in small dilutions as baby oils. Okay, you blend them with jojoba or something. You can actually use it as a baby oil. So this is oils that in good dilution, you never do it. You never like do it in a diffuser next to a baby. Okay, no. This is where you need an aromatherapist. Like, don't no, this is not a do-it-yourself thingy. If you have like babies around, then I prefer people to be careful than sorry. Um, and some limonene, which is also good for deepening the breathing. And yeah, caryophyllene, that's what we talked about. The sesquiterpenes content here is not like that heavy. It's more around the linalool, around the esters. So that is the type of cool chemistry that makes it what it is. Some people use the lavender plant for food. You can have lavender tea if you have the flower, the herb itself. You can have lavender tea. It's very calming, um, and really nice. It works well with rosemary, plenty, all chamomile. So those are things you can use the herb itself with. Again, for even for burning the incense, it's protecting, it's opening the heart. And so it can be protective in the sense that you are more attuned to your heart's desire, and what is not in alignment with your heart's desire is just not something that you attune yourself to. That in itself is protective. So, yeah, great for our times. So, to summarize, okay, always make sure that you use these things correctly. Always make sure you have the name of the plant, and in this case is Lavandula angustifolia. Um, Buying from a reputable vendor means that you also need to look at the business model of that reputable vendor. I'm not into bashing anyone. I am into telling you what do you do want to do, and this isn't all you can get at the pharmacy. So, in most places, you can get this at the pharmacy, and it's very safe to use. And know that even if you smell it like from the bottle, or you create a salt where you just put a couple of drops in a bottle and close it, and then you have a salt that holds for like 2-3 weeks depending on circumstances and energies around you. Then you smell it from afar. Essential oils you smell from afar, even if they are tender, because we want to preserve our skin. And very good to calm the nervous system, align your heart with the mind, attract the type of relations, the type of love, the type of things that are true to our authentic self, to who we are. Um, and it's good it's literally the only oil you can put on open bruises. For those of you who put tea tree like on the skin, don't. And even this oil, you put it like if you just got caught and you're out of home and all you have is a lavender bottle, which you always want to have in your pocket, then you put that, but then you come home and then you would need to dilute it with oil. And this is where, like, if you're not an aromatherapist yourself, then I suggest that you either consult in person with someone who can see you doing that and make sure that you're doing that correctly, or you buy a diluted version from an aromatherapist, and then you know that you're safe to go. Or you can also buy it ahead of time, diluted, so that you take it in your pocket and it's already diluted. It's not a problem to put it diluted. So, yeah, very good for Mars in Mercury. Very good for any work with Mars related and Mercury related stuff. So, clarity around our actions, around our raw drives, and aligning them with the heart. Very blessed oil. That is why it is so basic. That is why it's in the pocket of every aromatherapist always. Um, and it's fortunately so accessible. Okay, it's not something you have to break a saving to buy, like rose essential oil or something like that. And the herb itself, if you grow the herb itself, you can use in teas, you can use in magic that is about opening your heart and attracting things that are in alignment with your heart. And with rosemary, you can also deflect things that are not in alignment with your heart. And rosemary is very protective, and it is another herb that you might want to work with at this time. Joining lavender, and then you have a more Martian herb, rosemary. Anything you have that have needles to it, or that's more sharp, is more Mars oriented. You can see the purple is definitely like screams Mercury. So you would have rosemary and lavender, but rosemary you already need to know more things about. So I might do a separate video on rosemary. If you work in essential oil form or if you burn the incense, you already need to know that rosemary um, can be problematic on the nervous system for people who are sensitive. It's not something you would use with babies around. It's already, it is a Martian oil. So just think Mars. Okay, would I use Mars oil on my baby? Would I use Mars oil on someone who has something like inflammation in the nervous system? Unless I really know what I'm doing and there's a good reason for me to do that, I probably wouldn't mess with that, okay? For other people, rosemary is a wonderful oil for clarity, for deflecting things, for the third eye chakra, but this is not hard third eye, it's third eye. Some use it as third eye throat, but that's, for another video. So I hope this was helpful. And this shows you a part of, what I do as an aromatherapist. It's another aspect of me that I don't always bring to this channel. And they kind of connected with the current astrology and what's going on. So let me know if you want me to talk about more essential oils. I can. If you want me to talk about Mercury in Gemini, Mars in Gemini, no problem. More tips from being a holistic health practitioner, absolutely. And if you don't ask for a video, then how can I know that you want it, right? So I'll see you in my next video. If you wonder if you can consult me uh, about your chart and what oils could be good for you, that depends. Like I would need to know the laws of your country to know if I'm able to give you this type of consultation, but I can absolutely give you an astrological reading for which I am available. And I do natal readings, synastry, composites readings, um, and I check your perfected time lord if you do have an exact time birth. So that can be very, very useful. So it can answer a lot of the questions that you have. Usually, the question that you will have will be timely. Okay, so it will be something concerning maybe maybe you just perfected into your seventh year, and you have a question about relationships, and and of course I will be able to answer that because of course it is now a topic that comes up, and now you have the window of opportunity to resolve this issue or to take action as to this issue or to change something as to this issue. Or you could have a career question. Okay, so maybe that would be, perfecting when the Lord of your 10th house is. And that could be any house, okay? But then I will see, okay, what is that Lord of the 10th house? What is your question? How can we use the window of opportunity that we have right now in the sky to make a contribution either in planning or in actually strategizing action in your career field. So that's something that I do offer. I'm Tali Share on Twitter, Shirley Youngblood on Instagram. I'm currently looking for comfortable platforms to open a website so that I can transfer some of the activity into an own website independent of YouTube or something else. So they have to be platforms that provide service also for Israel uh, and that I can work globally, so that if I move to another country or if I travel, then I can still work and I can still run my business. So if you do know if you are working with such platforms, then let me know. Even if they don't work with Israel yet, then I can see what the platforms are, and I might dedicate my coding days to delving deeper into that. Um, yeah, you can subscribe, like, share my videos. Do click the bell if you want to get notifications for when I'm up live or when I uploaded another video. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.